Hello, everyone, and welcome to CarAlarm Reviews WWE SmackDown Live for June 27th, 2017. My name is Alex,
And I'm Gavin.
and you didn't watch the show, correct?
Nope, did
Okay.
not.
Well, you missed out on a pretty good one. I think it was better than Raw. We'll get into it. I took what I consider to be some pretty in-depth notes. Hopefully, you'll be able to picture the happenings.
If you can word correctly.
If I can word correctly, yeah. So, Brian opens the show to announce two major women's matches tonight. First, we have Naomi versus Lana for the Women's Championship, a rematch from Money in the Bank. And then we have the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match rematch with, the same women, Natty, Charlotte, Carmella, Becky, and Tamina. There's always one forgettable person in the Money in the Bank ladder matches.
Sorry, Tamina, you're just forgettable.
She's boring.
Yeah, she
Oh, okay, thank you for agreeing with that. I like her, but she's boring. So
I don't even know if she heel, is she face?
I think she's just Tamina. I don't think I can't describe her any other way. She's just Tamina. So Carmella interrupts Daniel Bryan and says she won fair and square. But Daniel Bryan basically kind of blows her off and says, whatever, the match is still happening. It doesn't matter what you think.
Because Daniel Bryan's awesome.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan can do what he wants. He doesn't need this job. He'll go to Ring of Honor. Ellsworth interrupts Daniel Bryan and says Bryan's a gutless, spineless coward who doesn't have the grapefruits to cut it in the ring anymore. And then Daniel Bryan, he said, you know what? Last week I said I would ban you from ringside, which I don't remember. I don't think I even heard that, apparently. But he said, instead of that, he's going to ban him from the entire arena. So James Ellsworth is banned from the entire arena for the whole night.
Thank you.
He calls out security. Security comes out. They literally drag him like it's a horror movie from the ring onto the floor, and then they kind of let him settle for a little bit. Ellsworth said he'll stop, running around, and he just bolts immediately to the barricade, and they catch him again, and then he runs out again, immediately jumps onto the barricade, but he does like a movie dive. Like he jumps with his whole body and his ribs hit the barricade and he sells it like he misjudged the jump. He didn't get over the barricade, he just landed on it. I like that. And then they literally carried him out. Each security guard had a limb and they were just carrying him up the ramp. Daniel Bryan sarcastically wishes Carmella good luck, and the segment ends with that. Now, you know some of the results, right?
I know a few.
Okay, without spoiling who did win, who did you want to win before SmackDown, this Money in the Bank? Did you still want it to be Carmella?
No, I wanted it to be Becky.
Okay, me too. I like Becky a lot. So the first match of the show was the Hype Bros versus the Usos. And last week, if you remember, the Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley asked Bryan for a title match shot since they won that number one contender battle royal. Yeah. And if they would beat the Usos tonight, they'd get a number one contender match sometime in the future. They didn't. They lost to the Usos in about 5 minutes.
Really?
Yep. They were basically jobbed out. Which, I did not expect that. I thought, sure, do you think maybe they'll break up?
Why not? We already broke up Enzo and Cass.
Which is a much better team. Hype Bros are fine and all, but Enzo and Cass is amazing.
Yeah.
They're great. So yeah, it was a nothing match. Nothing really good happened. The Usos, they didn't finish it in some kind of glorious fashion. It was just Usos hit a what's the move called? It's just it's like where they just a splash. What's it called?
Frog splash?
No. Like just where their body's flat and they just stomach to stomach.
I don't know.
I don't know why I can't think of the name. It's the Usos' finisher. They use it all the time.
I don't know what it's called though.
All right. Well, the New Day comes out to challenge the Usos at Battleground, and even though the Usos say they don't deserve a rematch, they for some reason accept it. So they basically say, "You guys don't even deserve a rematch." we'll see at Battleground for the rematch. But whatever, I don't care.
Usos aren't very smart.
No, apparently not. New Day says all they do is spit hot fire, and then Kofi Kingston does a little rap about how the Usos are booty. It wasn't really much. I didn't write it down word for word because I wasn't gonna try and re-rap it. Maybe next time I'll give it a shot for you if you want. But it wasn't much. It was like 2 lines. So the next segment, which I went as usual in depth. This is my favorite part of the show every week. The Fashion Files with Tyler Breeze and Fandango. This time it was Fashion Vice. The name was The Interrogation, or at least that's what it was. Before the commercial break, it said Fashion Files, The Interrogation. But the episode name was different, and I forgot to write it down. But whatever. The episode opens with a framed picture of Big Boss Man, and it zooms out to the Ascension sitting at a table with Fandango behind them, questioning them, and they say they didn't attack Tyler Breeze and destroy the office. And Fandango says he believes them and shows them a sketch of the 2 assailants. If you remember the 2 little stick men from last week. I have to plug in my laptop. Those noises aren't happening. Remember the 2 stick men?
Yeah, I do. The little drawing, and then they just said, "Let's go get them."
Yeah, he showed that to them, and they were like, "That's not us. That's not us." But Fandango believes them, and says, he gives them 2 tickets. He puts 2 tickets of Eddie Money on the table, who's a music artist who, I'm not sure what kind of music he produces. Do you know?
I've never even heard.
I believe it's soft music. I meant to research it, but I didn't get the chance to. So he puts the 2 tickets. Victor kind of reaches for the tickets, but then Connor's like, "No, remember, we only listen to metal." Victor's like, "Oh yeah, all right," and he doesn't take it. Fandango lets Breeze take over because Dango's getting nowhere. Tyler Breeze, while he's kind of talking a little bit intimidating towards them, he lays out all his water guns on the table, threatening like, as if they were real guns. And he says he just wants to know why they attacked him. But again, they said it wasn't them, and they just wanted a match on the card at Money in the Bank. That's the only reason they answered the open challenge, if you will. Tyler Breeze goes to speak with Fandango in the corner by themselves when a loud crash is heard. They run to the next room, and their office is once again destroyed. No evidence this time. They head back with the Ascension. The Ascension's still there. They're kind of just pondering to each other, and then the camera kind of scrolls back to the Ascension, and you see their hands come up and slowly take the Eddie Money tickets, put it in their pocket, and then that's the end of the segment.
I love the Fashion Files
Me
so
too.
much.
It's the best thing in all of WWE right now, in my opinion. I feel like if they don't have creative control, the creative team on SmackDown Live is amazing. Because it seems like Tyler Breeze and Fandango can just do whatever they want. And it looks like they're having so much fun. I think I said it last week too, but you should let the wrestlers, I know you can't completely, you should give them creative control over their characters. Maybe you can have like a producer that has final say, but there should be, I think, a lot more leniency because
you let the wrestler create their gimmick and let the producer just approve it.
Yeah, when you're passionate about something, it ends up a better product. When you really want something to be made, you're gonna work harder to make it. And it's gonna be better in the end.
Right.
If you're just being told to make it, and you're like, all right, well, I guess I'll do that, even though I really don't want to, it's gonna be half-assed, and no one's gonna like it. Which you could probably say about a lot of guys, like Social Outcast, maybe. 3MB. Jinder Mahal said he never even liked 3MB. Drew McIntyre, I don't believe, did either. They have a lot of things like that they have a problem with. But anyway, we'll move on from that because the next match is the Women's Championship match, a rematch, Naomi versus Lana. Now, did you hear anything about this?
I did.
Give me your predictions on what you think happened.
Naomi won again.
Okay, but I mean like vague, like how long was the match? Or
For like a 10-minute match, you know, Lana was pretty okay.
wrong. It was about 1 minute.
What?
Okay, let me tell you what happened. So, right before the bell rings, Lana attacks Naomi while she's holding up the championship, because, you know, they're like, for the women's championship, and then Naomi's holding up the belt. Lana attacks her from behind and starts kicking her, and then the ref backs both of them off. The bell rings. Lana gets more hits in, and then Naomi just head kicks Lana. Lana goes down. Naomi drags her to the corner, split-legged moonsault, 1, 2, 3. Naomi keeps the championship.
Really?
Yeah. And honestly, well, listen, hang on. I wasn't that upset because this is her second match. Who cares if she gets jobbed out right now? She hasn't. And
But
yeah, I know she had a good match at Money in the Bank. That was a good match, especially for her first match, but her first singles match. But who cares? She's coming back. She's Lana.
But her first match was good.
Yeah.
And her second match is a minute long?
Sure. Well, but look, it makes Naomi look strong, and it makes Lana was super, super angry at the end. Like, she was screaming in the ring into the sky while Naomi was down the ramp. So it at least will help drive Lana, if nothing else. I don't think it's that bad of a thing. Now, if it was like literally anyone in the Money in the Bank women's ladder match that just got jobbed out, I would probably be a bit upset. But Lana has nothing yet, so she can't really lose anything she doesn't have.
True.
And she proved herself in the ring at Money in the Bank, so we know that she won't be jobber forever. At least, you know, you would hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was fine with it. It was actually pretty good for how short it was, because it was a really nice looking head kick. I guess that's really the only thing. So maybe that doesn't mean it's pretty good. But you ready to move on to the next segment? Do you have anything about Lana you want to say, Naomi?
Nah.
He is still around. He has a spotlight on him, and he begins to sing about how great he is before Randy Orton's music hits, and Orton comes down the ramp. He tells Aiden English during the commercial break. You know, I don't know why, but it was during the commercial break, so they showed a replay when they came back. He tells Aiden English to leave the ring, but he wouldn't. Aiden English said this is his ring. He's not leaving. Orton RKO's him. Aiden's gone. And then Orton gets a steel chair, sits down in the ring, and says he won't leave until he gets what he wants. Orton shows everyone a replay of the attack that he did on Jinder Mahal last week and the Singh brothers, the Bollywood boys. And he says that will pale in comparison to what he'll do if he doesn't get a title match at Battleground against Jinder Mahal. Orton gets tired of waiting. He starts to head back to the locker room before Shane McMahon comes out, and he to stop him. Shane says Orton can't be threatening the safety of Jinder Mahal, which no wrestlers do that. Wrestlers never threaten each other's safety.
Nope, never.
Orton interrupts him and says if he's fired, he'll just buy a ticket to every event Mahal's at and just beat the mess out of him every single time until he gets a title match. So Shane says he can empathize with Orton, and he will give him a rematch, but Jinder Mahal gets to choose a stipulation for the match. Do you know what stipulation he chose?
Cobra match.
Okay, so you don't know.
No clue.
Do you have like a guess on what it would be?
Extreme Rules?
No. You want it?
Yeah, what is
It's a Punjabi prison match.
a what?
You've never heard of this before? I think they've only had one, maybe two.
Punjabi
Prison.
What is that?
It's like an Indian steel cage match. Now the only other ones that I know of, the only other one that I know of, I think Great Khali and Batista, because you know he's Indian, so you have a Punjabi prison instead of a steel cage, I guess. But it's like it's the ring surrounded by steel reinforced bamboo, as they said. One layer, you got to climb over it, I think, and then there's another bigger layer around it, and you got to climb over that as well. from what I understand. I didn't see the match with Khali and Batista, but I can only imagine it was terrible because the Great Khali is awful. I don't know if this will be good or not, but whatever.
It would be a good match because it's
Hopefully.
Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal, and Jinder Mahal is actually pretty good, and Orton's great.
Yeah, but do you remember the Ambrose Asylum match?
Yeah.
That match was okay. And it was Chris Jericho and Dean Ambrose. The match should have been incredible.
That's because,
And you got Lesnar and Ambrose.
Let's not talk about that, okay? Just don't even mention that one.
Okay. Whatever.
I'm hoping this match is pretty good.
I'm hoping it is too.
I'm looking forward to it.
I know a lot of people don't like the Punjabi Prison match. I haven't seen one, and I'm open to it. I know it's just that match type because he's Indian, which, who cares? I don't care. Whatever. Make it whatever match you want. That's fine. We've had so many steel cage matches. I'm okay with a little bit of change, Yep. Even if it's just because Jinder Mahal's Indian, so they can't do a regular steel cage.
Heck, weird, I mean, it's not even steel cage. Wood cage.
Well, yeah, sure. Alright. The next thing we get, so AJ Styles and Kevin Owens aren't really on the show. They are a bit. They're just here to promote what they're doing next week, though. So AJ Styles and Kevin Owens are arguing with Daniel Bryan backstage about last week's open challenge that Kevin Owens had, where Chad Gable answered. But Styles said he answered first, so he should have gotten a match. Kevin Owens said that the open challenge is for people who he hasn't faced before. So AJ Styles doesn't qualify for that. But Daniel Bryan said, when John Cena did the open challenge, it was for literally anyone who wanted that U.S. championship. So, next week, Daniel Bryan said there will be a battle royal, and the winner will face Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. And AJ Styles is included in that match. Because he asked, am I invited? And Bryan was like, yeah, you're invited. And that was their whole thing for the night.
I'm glad it was put, am I invited?
Yeah, me too. I didn't expect him to say. He was like, am I invited?
Like, it's a party, and I want to be there.
AJ will probably win, right? We can agree on that.
Unless John Cena's there.
That's a bit predictable. I didn't think of that. No, he's not gonna. He's gonna be on Raw and everything. He's not gonna win it. He's not gonna be there. I hope. God, shut up. AJ Styles is gonna win. Alright, anyway, we're moving on. Maria and Mike Kanellis are on stage, and they start speaking, of course, about their little love. But basically, immediately when they start speaking, Sami Zayn makes his entrance, walks right between them, goes to the ring, because he's got a match with Baron Corbin.
You might want to run.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was Corbin and Zayn. They kind of hyped it up from last week. Zayn lost clean. It wasn't a very long match either. Maybe 8 minutes, I want to say.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
Zayn lost squeaky clean, like a newborn baby that just got mopped. So.
Why?
I don't know.
Why can't Sami win anything?
Yeah. Like, I don't know, a Money in the Bank briefcase. Yeah, Corbin, yes, I know that. No, I'm not going to defend myself. Sami Zayn should have won the Money in the Bank briefcase. I don't care. Anyway, you ready to move on to the main event, which I have a lot of notes for?
What's the main event?
The women's Money in the Bank rematch, which was a very good match. Much better than their first one, which was pretty good anyway.
Because now everybody's mad.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason of doing this, maybe, I could be wrong, this is just pure speculation, was just now they kind of have a feel of ladder match. They had like a, 10, 12-minute ladder match at Money in the Bank?
Yeah.
And now they have a little bit of ladder experience, so they can have a rematch. And it'll be better. So I'm thinking maybe that's the reason they did this. And so now you can say the first two are out of the books. I don't know. And apparently now women's Money in the Bank matches, there's been 2 of them, and they've never been on anywhere but SmackDown. And the first ever, I think, Money in the Bank ladder match on the TV show rather than a pay-per-view.
Maybe.
Because it used to be on WrestleMania for the first few years, and then they made the pay-per-view Money in the Bank, and then the brand split, and then this. So I think this is the first time it's ever been on a week's show.
Pretty awesome.
So as soon as the bell rang, everyone fights outside. Becky and I think Tamina are fighting outside, and Charlotte and Natty, or I could have gotten those pairs mixed up. It doesn't matter. They all got knocked out of the ring. Carmella was left. She threw a ladder in the ring, put it up, started climbing it. Before every single woman comes in and just throws her out. They all just jumped her. It happens a few times. Natalya is. There was one spot where Charlotte grabs Natalya and like throws her out of the ring. You know, they kind of get thrown out to where they do a little spin and they land on their feet.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Natty landed on her feet on the outside, Becky Lynch Bexplexed her, and it was really smooth and it looked really good.
That sounds painful.
Yeah, it looked good. It was fine. It probably wasn't that painful. She rolled pretty neatly. Charlotte and Natty were fighting at the top of the ladder at one point, and Charlotte was reaching for the briefcase, and it looks like Natalya just stiffed her right in the mouth, just really hard. I don't know if she tried to, but he punched her. It looked like Charlotte was a bit surprised, taken aback by the hit. Tamina, Natalya, Becky, and Charlotte are fighting on the ladder before it just falls over. They're all just up there, and then it just topples. Because...
Just falls?
Yeah, it just fell over. I don't know if it was supposed to or what. Carmella was outside somewhere. It just fell over. Like, Tamina and I think Natalya were on, like, the outside because Becky and Charlotte were climbing it. They were, like, on the outside of it a little bit, and it just kind of, bam, fell over. Becky landed on her feet, but she sold it as if she didn't anyway. Which makes me think maybe it wasn't supposed to happen like that. Because I'm sure she probably would have just fell on her back if it was. Because, you know, if you all go towards the ropes, something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, someone's going to die.
Yeah. So, after that, Carmella runs in the ring, puts the ladder back up, climbs up it. But she doesn't quite get there because all the women grab each end of the ladder, pick it up, and just move her away from the briefcase towards the edge of the ropes. It was pretty great. And she eventually just gets knocked down. Charlotte guillotines Tamina with a ladder, and by that I mean, like, she knocks Tamina down, and she puts the ladder on Tamina. Like, the bottom rung of the ladder is on, like, right above her breasts, and, like, under her chin. Not quite on her neck, though. It's, like, right top of her chest. And, she just, like, smashes the ladder down a few times, and then just knees her in the head.
Oh my god.
And I was like, oh my god, Tamina's dead. But it's weird, because she didn't leave the ladder there. Okay, so we had a bit of a hiccup on our audio file around the end there.
It got really messed up, and it didn't catch any of the ending.
Yeah, so we already talked about what happens at the end, so I'm going to go through briefly, again, what was happening. So I was talking about Tamina getting guillotined by the ladder. It ended up getting awkwardly repositioned off of Tamina by Charlotte, and then Tamina kind of crawled back under it and pushed it over on Charlotte and Carmella. It was a little awkward. And then I talked about how Becky got powerbombed about in half.
Which sounded very painful.
Yeah, she kind of put her hands behind her head, and she got powerbombed down, but her knees almost touched the mat on the side of her head, or at least it looked like it. It looked brutal and not safe at all, but it made me happy. I like women powerbombs. So Charlotte and Natalya end up fighting into the crowd. James Ellsworth runs in the ring to once again steal the victory for Carmella. Becky Lynch comes in, stops Ellsworth, stops Carmella, and she pushes the ladder over on Ellsworth. And the worst crotch bump I have ever seen takes place, where Ellsworth falls off of the top of the ladder, basically, crotch first onto the top rope and then onto the outside of the ring. It's terrifying.
James, are you okay? I really want to know, because you're not having kids, by the way.
I highly doubt he's okay.
I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure taking steel rope to the crotch is going to make you not have kids. Or is, like, steel springs in there.
Yeah, but is it in WWE?
I think.
I don't think there's steel springs in there.
Isn't there?
I don't think so. No.
How is it like so bouncy? So it's not elastic.
They're just tight.
They're that tight.
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Look it up. Google it. Who cares?
I'll research it. And
I don't think there's steel springs in it. I think the ropes would break a little more.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. If I'm wrong, who cares? We'll research it. Maybe. Probably not. But I'm not gonna say you're flat out wrong because I'm not positive. Anyway, after that, Carmella beats up Becky with a steel chair and climbs the ladder to win the briefcase and close the show. Any thoughts on Carmella?
Well, we already know I'm a huge Carmella fan.
Yeah.
I like that James Ellsworth got stopped this time. Not necessarily the way he got stopped, because that's just a little too much.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be out for a few weeks probably selling that. I don't know if if it made contact with the whole nether region, that had to hurt so much. If it didn't, because he looked like he braced with his hands, but that's not gonna stop everything.
No,
you're not getting out 100% safe just because you brace with your hands. So
that had to have hurt at least.
At least a little bit, enough for him to the selling. I feel like to be a little bit real. But we still don't get Ty Dillinger this week, which is sad.
He's so good, and yet we don't get him.
Not even in a Sonic commercial. I think that's all we have to talk about. We good for the second time? All right. If you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at CarAlarm Podcast, and if you want to follow us on Facebook,
you just type in the little search bar at Sounding CarAlarm, and you'll find our page there.
All right. We are closing out. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Peace.